So just for those people who might not have watched any of these before, my name's Angela Murray. My business is Living Life in Colour, and I help either wannabe artists to get out of their own way and give it a go, or artists who want to take it to the next level and step up and dream big, paint big, to give that a go too. So it's all different steps on the same journey. And today's guest is the lovely Sue Kennedy, who is, you're in Australia. Whereabouts are you?
Sydney. In Sydney.
You're near Sydney. Okay, so because most people think I'm in Australia anyway, but I'm in New Zealand. And which is obviously a little island of Australia, apparently.
We're neighbours.
Neighbours, exactly. And so Sue is, your business is I'll have to check again, the Author Academy?
Yes, one
Yes.
of, yes.
One of, because she's got nothing to do other than creating more businesses. She's, I'll get her to introduce herself, but basically artist, author, and publisher. That's just 3 of the hats. But if you'd like to introduce yourself to everybody, that'd be fantastic.
Thank you, Angela, and thank you so much for having me on here. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So as you said, I have published quite a number of books, and I am an artist, and of course a publisher and author coach, and of course I do teaching as well, online and
Of course.
offline.
Not much then.
No, and then I've just started doing a diploma, because why not?
Yeah, because you've got plenty time to fit that in, no problem.
Exactly. And I work
Yeah.
very closely with my printer as well, so I help her out as well, so we collaborate.
Yeah. So how do you find the difference between being an author and a publisher and being a visual artist? Is it the same thought processes or different?
Look, they are both very creative. They are different in some ways. I get excited about both, because it's, at the end of the day, it's what you end up creating, and then the process that you go through to get to that end creativity. It's very, I find it very healing.
Right.
It's a great process.
Yeah. Yeah, because they always say like that everybody's got a book in them, and I think about it every now and again, and then think, oh no, that's too hard. I like books with pictures. Can I have lots of books?
You can create ones with pictures. It doesn't matter. You can do either or both together, pictures and writing. So
yeah, maybe one day. That makes me sound like I don't read. I do actually read books without pictures, but
but just the thought of you actually writing one is what you're saying.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, is the structure of having to sit down and actually do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have to be really disciplined? Like, what's your process for writing?
Look, I do suggest that people make time, like in their diary, like they do with anything else, and set aside, a time that you can actually, even if it's just an hour a week, just put that aside and, uninterrupted, and just sit and just, write. And it can be about anything, because, a lot of people, so let me explain that. A lot of people come to me and start writing a book and going, oh, this is what I'm writing about. And halfway through they go, it's just not really sitting well. And then they go, oh, they get that big aha, this is what I'm be writing about. So then they start again, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, finally that you get that connection of, yep, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I think that's partially what puts me off the idea, is having to have the idea.
No.
which, as we both know, when you're painting, you might start with a subject in mind, but it turns into whatever it decides it's going to be. So I guess what you're saying is that the book is the same,
Yes, yeah,
really?
exactly. But, well, it's the same as the Dream Big, Paint Big that I just did. I had no, it was just like, wow, where did you come from? That was
Uh-huh.
not what I was expecting it to turn out to be. And I'm so loving it, though. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. I love that because I usually, I think I probably would have at the beginning of the 8 weeks said, whatever you've got in your head right now is not what's going to come out on the canvas.
Same with the
Because,
book.
yeah, that's really cool to know. Yeah, because it's your soul that is speaking. Same with, with the painting, it's your soul that ends up on the canvas.
Exactly.
Yeah, not
Exactly.
whatever's the little thing in there that tries to control everything.
Exactly. And that's why I was saying, like, that, you'll start off with an idea and then, yeah, your soul goes, well, hang on a minute. No, you think that's what you want to write about, but that's not what you're going to write about. This is what you need to be writing about. And that's when they
I
get the,
love it.
right, okay, well, and then they get that love and the passion for it. And then it is a lot easier to do because you're actually doing it, from the
Yeah,
heart, from the soul.
yeah, rather than from your head. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So, what was it that brought you to painting? How did you end up doing that?
So I've painted all my life on and off, and then I didn't do anything for ages. And actually, I had an angel reading, and she said to me, "Oh, they're telling me you need to paint. Do you paint?" And I went, "Well, I haven't for a while, but I'm sort of starting to dabble now." She said, "They're telling me really loud and clear, you need to paint." And I went, "Okay." And then I joined up for a free, those free summits that they have.
Yeah,
And I watched this video and I just fell in love with this lady. Her name's Whitney Freya, who I then went on to do a coaching course with her, and it was
mhm.
amazing. And honestly, from there, my life just really turned around. It was
Yeah,
brilliant. Like, yeah, I was doing it to incorporate in with my writing business, publishing business, but then it was just so amazing because when I went through it, it just, like, I worked on myself, which I needed.
mhm.
I was going through a really tough period in my life, well, so I thought at the time, and it really helped me get through that. And
Yeah,
then, yeah, from there, yeah, it just really changed my life. It was just amazing.
yeah. So, what do you think's different now? Now that you're painting more often, what do you think's different?
Oh, look, and I keep telling everyone that you need to stay present. Being in the present moment is where all the magic happens. It's where you actually live your best life, not in the past, not in the future. So when you do paint, it keeps you present. So
Yeah,
you're in this just most beautiful, place when you're painting, or writing. Either or. They both do the same thing as far as I'm concerned. But yes, I absolutely love painting.
yeah.
Just, yeah.
I think that's really beautiful, actually. Just that whole concept of being in the moment, because we
Mm,
are creatures that do look at the past and then project into the future. And
mm,
there's a bear or a tiger around every corner, and you can't really live your life that way. Well, you can live your life that way, but it's we only get if you believe that you only get the one. Maybe you should live it in a more authentic, happy way, at least the best version that you possibly can. And
exactly.
rather than worrying about so many things, especially things that you can't even influence. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, Kristen's just saying 100% present moment. Definitely,
Mm,
definitely.
mm,
Yeah. I think that was the other reason I stopped watching the news in 2006. And I went traveling for 9 months, and during that time I didn't watch the news, and I felt happier in myself. It wasn't that I didn't know what was going on, because you'd see headlines, but I stopped engaging so much with the drama of it, and and that feeling of I can't do anything about it. And so I think that that idea of for me, that was part of being just present in the moment.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I still get in my own head though.
Oh, we do. And, you know, as soon as and how I bring myself back to present is I start thinking of painting. And then I
Yeah,
go, that's a nice place to be. Even if I can't actually physically do any painting in that moment, if I just
yeah.
think about it and think of what I could paint, it brings me
Ah,
back and gets me out of that negative space.
that's really good advice, actually, because you
Mm.
can't always get to your canvas or the things to be creative with.
No, no. So, yeah, you can be
No,
driving along. Well, you know, you don't have well, you may have your art supplies in the car, but you can't start painting.
not while you're driving.
No.
One of the things you touched on just then was that you were going through a bit of a tough time when you were going through the coaching program. And if you don't mind me mentioning it, was I know at that time you were going through your cancer journey.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wondered if, because you know, it's such a thing that touches so many people, if you could actually maybe share with people what that was like for you, like, and how creativity sort of helped you along the way.
Yep. So when I got diagnosed, of course, my doctor said, well, your whole life's going to change now and you have to stop everything. I said, no. I've got news for you. No, nothing's going to change. I'm still going to go to the gym. I'm still going to work. You know, I'm still going to do my art, my writing, whatever I'm doing. I'm still going to continue all that. So it just means that I have to now make room for doctor's appointments and treatment and whatnot. So, I then just I came home and that night I actually had the best sleep of my life because I think then I knew, like, you know, like once you get a result, you know at least what you're dealing with. And I just went, okay, no problem. Because, you know, when I got home, I just started working again. And I got up the next morning and Mum's like, oh, how are you? How did you sleep? I went, oh, I had the best sleep. She's like, really? I went, yeah. She said, I haven't slept a wink. I went, oh, okay, right. Come on, let's sit down and have a chat about this. I said, right, you need to let all that go, all that worry go. I said, if you worry, and I tried to explain to her, you are pushing that negative energy onto me, and that's not helping me at all. So that's why
Mm-mm.
I didn't tell anyone for a long time that I had it. It was only a couple of people that knew. And I then just, you know, focused and I just went, right, I'm going to just, what I learned in my painting practice with Whitney, I put that into practice again through the cancer journey and just worked through it that way. And just honestly,
Yeah.
I just stayed completely positive all the way through, which was a huge, huge healing process.
Yeah.
Doing the painting, because
Yeah.
yeah, you've only got two choices. You take control of the cancer or the cancer takes control of you. And I thought,
Right.
well, who's going to win this battle? And it's not you, cancer. I'm sorry.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you just took it to the canvas, really.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So yeah, whenever something came up, I just went to the canvas,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
journaled about it. So,
Yeah. So when you do that, what do you think shifts in you when you take it to the canvas?
well, again, you're being present in the present moment. And also when you do paint on the canvas, you start painting, magic happens. Like it actually, when you stop and, you know, you paint, you look at the canvas, you know, you step back and have a look and you can see the messages in there. There are messages. And,
Mm.
you know, and for me, a lot of what I painted, the symbol for me was the lotus flower.
Yeah.
So I just painted lotus flowers like you wouldn't believe. They were everywhere, and I love the lotus flower anyway. But you know, the lotus flower is, you know, a flower that grows from the deepest, darkest, muddiest water, and comes out
Right.
and blooms. So hence why I just kept doing that and just reminding myself that I'm going to bloom. I'm going to be bigger and better than this when it's all over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Nothing going to stop you. Michelle, sorry, Michaeline, sorry, I nearly said Michelle. Michaeline says you're a warrior. She certainly
no,
is.
thank you.
Yeah. Do you think it's really odd that the doctor said that everything's going to change? Like he immediately put that on you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was shocked when I said, I'm sorry, but no. That's not how this is going to work out. This is what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going to happen. But I mean, in saying that, he's just the most amazing doctor. And he was so proud of me going through it all, because he went, oh my goodness, I've never known anyone like you that has gone through cancer the way you have. You are the most positive person that I've ever met. And I said,
That,
oh, thank you, but yeah, I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm sorry. You're stuck with me, I said.
I love that because it would have been his training to actually sort of say that to you. And you've probably rocked his world, actually.
Exactly. Well, even, because I had to, because of the treatment I was on, I had to go every 3 months and get my heart checked, because that was one of the things that this treatment actually can, damage your heart. So, I would go every 3 months, and they were like, you're perfect. I said, oh, well, I did a 45-minute Zumba class last night. I think if I survive that, then I think I'll survive this today. And, they would go, oh my goodness, and even talking to the cardiologist, I said, oh, I exercise half an hour every day. And he went, oh my goodness, you're just amazing. I wish all my patients were like you. And I said, well, and he said, that is, the secret is not just the positive mind that you have, but also, physically, making sure that, he said exercise is actually, key. It really is. I think if I
Wow.
wouldn't have had that exercise regime, my outcome could have been a lot different.
Yeah, which is incredible because a lot of people sort of want to wrap you in cotton wool, don't you? Yeah, which
Yes,
is,
yeah.
as you said to your mum, wasn't going to help you.
No,
Yeah,
because that's why, as I said, I didn't want to tell anyone, because they were then going to start worrying, and that negative energy is going to start impacting me. And I'm like, no, 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 this is not how that's going. So that's why I didn't tell anyone.
yeah, we're not having that.
No, no. So now,
Yeah,
now that it's all over, I'm happy to say to people, yeah, I've been through cancer, and it's all
yeah,
great.
yeah. No, I think that's really inspirational for anybody who's watching because I guess when you get that diagnosis, as you said, you can go one of two ways. And it may not just be the power of positivity, but there are things that you can do for yourself. And keeping a positive mindset, I think, definitely does help.
Yes,
Not even just with cancer. I think generally, I tend to use creativity, especially when I'm stressed. When I feel the stress in my own body. Creativity is just like I feel like I've landed on a cloud. Sort of, it's like you can just go.
yes. No,
Yeah,
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, because that's exactly how I feel. It takes
yeah,
you to another place, and it's just such a beautiful, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's a beautiful place.
yeah. What does being an artist mean to you? People talk about being an artist. What does that mean to you?
I never ever considered myself as an artist, but over the last sort of couple of years, I own it now, and because I've
Mm-hmm.
actually even been commissioned to do artwork, as well as I've sold artworks. So it's like, wow.
Yeah,
So I just love, it makes me feel so wonderful, that because I know what I put into the painting, and knowing that someone else can get something from my painting is just amazing. Like one of the
wow.
ones I sold recently, it was such a beautiful piece. And in a way, I just went, oh, I'm a bit sad that she's gone. But I'm also excited because I found out that it's actually sitting in a reception area of a psychiatrist or psychologist, I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
So I know now that, because the name of that painting was called Inner Peace. So
Wow.
I know that that is helping so many people, and that in itself makes me feel very happy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting how people actually gravitate to your artwork. I remember having a piece that was hanging in, it was hanging in a cafe, and I got a phone call from somebody. It was the son and daughter of this lady. She unfortunately wasn't winning her battle, and she was actually near the end. And the piece was actually she'd seen it when she was in a cafe with them, and it was a circular piece. And for me, it was a window of moving from one world to the next. And on the other side, the energy that was in the center of this thing as you look through the window was really positive and uplifting and light. And she really loved this painting, so they bought it for her so she could have it in her room. But at no point did I write on that painting the name of it, what it was about, or anything. And yet, from looking at it, she knew what that was. And I felt, for me personally, it felt really good to be able to gift that energy to somebody, and for her to have that. But it is, we do pick up on what are in each other's artworks, and like you said, you're sort of giving that energy to somebody.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway,
even
I'm
if you
glad
just
to.
help. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'm glad to hear you owning it.
Yes. Yes. No, it is. It's very exciting. And, you know, every time someone says, oh, you're an artist, and I go, oh, yeah, I am.
I am, actually.
Yes. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah. Do you know, it's funny, I wouldn't call myself an artist, and then I sold a piece, another one from a cafe. It was the first one I ever sold. It was only about this big, and it was the moon, and it had a female face, and it was the woman in the moon instead of the man in the moon. And I sold it for $30. And it was like, oh, now I can call myself an artist. Yeah, it's like, actually, I was an artist before that. But
Exactly.
yeah,
You're just now a paid artist.
Exactly. Yes. Not that, the materials probably cost more than that.
That's okay.
Yeah. What tips would you have for new artists or people who are a little bit afraid to actually give painting a go, or intuitive painting particularly?
Look, I think that the biggest thing that people, I find, have a problem with is the expectation of the painting having to look like something. And once you let that go and just go, just start putting colors on, whether you use paintbrush, fingers, whatever, just start doing something. Even if it's not on the canvas, it could be in a journal, and it could be just using colored pens or markers. Doesn't matter, but just start, and just don't worry about the outcome. Doesn't have to look like anything in particular. And then step back, and honestly, once you sit and look, you may not also see anything to start with. You might go, oh, looks like nothing, but that's okay. Sit with it and look, and just keep looking. Have a cup of tea and just look at it. And honestly, there'll be messages that'll come through, and you'll be like, wow.
Yeah.
And that'll encourage you to keep going and do more.
Yeah. So one of the things I often say is that we think that we're in charge of the painting, but actually, as you mentioned before, it's the thing that's in charge. So I think if you take yourself out of that, and all you're doing is you're the vessel or the person holding the paintbrush or fingers, if you take yourself out of that picture, then it becomes a lot easier, because it's not about your skill level. It's just about what comes through.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, when you think,
sorry.
I was going to say, when you think originally, people painted on the walls of caves. They didn't do it so that somebody could tell them how much it was then going to be worth.
No, no.
Telling a story.
It was telling a story. Exactly right.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Not,
so
oh,
the
by the way,
canvas,
in a year's time, that'll be worth, two pigs and a cow. So,
yeah. But it is, it's
yeah.
telling a story to you. And,
Mm,
and the magic of it is if you can actually see what that is trying to tell you, then you can take action on that.
that's true.
Mm.
Yeah. You mentioned that when that last painting was bought, you were slightly, oh, I want to keep that. Do you find it easy to let them go or not?
Yes and no. I mean, I honestly, we were just about, because it was hanging up in a local gallery, and it was coming to the end of where, because we change over paintings every few months, and I
Mm,
thought, oh, awesome, I'm going to bring her home. Now I'm really excited about that, because before I entered it into the exhibition, I sat and watched it, looked at her every night, and it was just so beautiful. And yeah, just before we were about to change over, I get a phone call. Oh, we've sold your painting. I went, oh, okay. I
oh,
was a bit, but then I went, oh, well, it was meant to go to this person. And then when they
mm,
told me who had bought it, I just went, okay, I feel good about it now. I'm happy to
yeah,
let her go.
yeah. Yeah, I actually believe that they go to the right people, whoever needs that energy or whatever vibes you've put in there, or that message even, whoever it is, they tend to go to the right person.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think, what keeps bringing you back to creativity in its different forms?
I just love the feeling. Like I just, it's just my happy place. It's just what brings me to, stay in the present moment. I just
Yeah.
feel so happy, calm, relaxed, and, everything else just disappears.
Yeah.
Just good.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that you mentioned when we were getting together for this was that you'd been told at some point you were going to be a teacher.
Mm. Yes, I actually went to an event and they had a raffle. Anyway, my name got drawn out and they had a list of things left over. One of them was pole dancing. I went, no, I don't
Oh,
think
you
I'll do.
didn't want to be a pole dancer?
No. I went, no, I don't think I'll do that. What else is there anyway? And it was a in-depth astrology reading. I went, oh, that could be interesting. So it was worth $400. So I went, oh, I'll have that, thanks. And so yeah, I sat with this gentleman, and I had to give him my exact time of birth and date.
Mm.
And anyway, we then met and he went through it all. And yeah, he said basically the purpose of your life in this lifetime is actually to be a teacher. And I went, oh, okay. And hadn't told him that I'd actually, and by that stage I had written a book, and I
Mm.
hadn't told him that. I said, oh, well, I've actually written a book. Because he said it could be through books, could be through standing in front of a classroom. And I thought, oh, I don't know about standing in front of a classroom. Don't know about that. But that's what I do now, and I just absolutely love it. I teach all kinds of people.
Yeah.
I've got the elderly. I teach seniors. I teach intellectually disabled kids and adults, and just just love it. Business owners. Tomorrow I've got a painting meditation workshop. So yeah.
Yeah. So he was right then.
Yes, and I'm in my element when I do it. I remember one day I was that exhausted. I think I'd been down in Wollongong doing an expo, and I had to teach the next morning, and I was super tired. Anyway, I went in, thought, no, I've got to do it. I can't not do it. So I started teaching, and no joke, within 5 minutes, I
Mm.
was just on top of the world, forgot all about that I was exhausted. And this couple who actually live in New Zealand now, they came up to me at the end of the class and said, oh my goodness, Sue, that was one of the best classes we've done with you. I went, really? And they went,
Wow.
it was awesome. I went, oh, I was so exhausted. And I said, I didn't think I'd be able to do it. And they said, well, it was amazing. I went, okay. And I did. Like, I felt really good because I was just in my element. So clearly it
Yeah.
was, yeah, what I was meant to be doing. So
Yeah. So you teach lots of different things. Like you touched on, you do creative meditation, but you teach writing as well.
I do,
And,
yes.
yeah, and your art and your coaching and
Yes. And
yeah,
I actually the other day I had a lady in one of my classes, a senior, she super anxious lady, and she just sits in front of the computer and freezes because I'm teaching them how to use a computer anyway. I spotted her and I just went over, I gave everyone exercises to do, and I sat with her and she, you know, had a chat with her, and then I said to her, you know, maybe you could go home, because she said, oh yeah, the grandkids have bought me these colouring books. I went, perfect, perfect. Your homework is to go home and I want you to sit and spend, even if it's 10 minutes, doing that, and you bring me that next week and show me that you've done it. I said, it's going to really be so helpful for you. Anyway, she did it. And she said to me, this was the first lesson I've come back now this week that I was so
yeah.
excited to come. So
Wow.
clearly I've made an impact. I was so happy. I went, oh, I'm so happy for you. I said, so you keep this up. You need to
Hmm.
keep this up. It's going to be
Yeah.
really helpful. So, you know, you do a bit of your art, calm yourself down, do some computer stuff that makes you anxious, then go back to the painting and colouring. And
That's
so
a
she's,
perfect combination.
yes,
Yeah. And great advice for anybody, actually. Yeah.
exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
thought I'd share. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Because
yeah.
I know historically, work-wise, I used to find that by the end of the day, it felt like my shoulders were up here and I
Mm,
was breathing from here because every email that came through, you didn't ever knew what it was going to be. Not that it was a mega stressful job, but just holding all of that in your body. And
yes,
so to then allow that to come out by using creativity, that was really good advice for her.
yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
anyone that's going through similar stuff.
yeah, yeah. It's great for anxiety. I've
Mm,
clients who've had issues with anxiety, and it's been really good for them.
mm.
Yeah,
And
I
even if
just
it's
look.
not, even if it isn't a colouring book, it could be just a sheet of paper with some coloured pencils and just start doodling.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
Just, yeah, start doing something.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about that is that then the logical side of your brain sort of looks at it and goes, I have no clue why you're doing this.
Hmm.
And then just sort of takes itself off for a little while, which is
Yeah,
great because it needs to rest.
exactly. And leave
Yeah.
it alone.
Yeah, exactly. It's far too busy. Michaeline was just saying that you're an embodiment of the many layers of a painting and you've recreated over and over again.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
really cool. Yeah,
It
true though.
is.
Yeah. What else was I going to ask you? What's the big thing that's lighting you up at the moment? What? I guess yeah. What's the big thing?
Oh, I've got a few
I don't
different
know if
things.
you can even talk about what your future plans are, but because obviously I have an idea, but I can't say because it's secret.
Well, it involves, you know, painting and
Yes,
writing. But
yes,
look, yeah, look, what lights me up is just, you know, moving forward. And hence why I've started doing this diploma as well, to add another, you know, tool to my list of many tools. But I just, I love the idea of being able to help people heal, you
yeah,
know, whatever level they're at, whatever, you know, whatever they need. And, you know, and that can come through writing your book. So some, you know, some people, I get a lot of people that are writing books around like domestic violence, for instance. So, and they sort of say, oh, well, I don't know if I want to publish this. Well, that's fine. They don't need to publish it, but they need to write about it. And then this is why I brought the painting into that, so that we can do painting alongside the writing, because they're both very healing.
Right.
And, you know, at the end of it, if we just have a burning ceremony and burn that book, that's fine. The fact is that they've got it out of, you know, what's going, all that that's going on inside, and getting it out, that in itself is just so healing. And then, you know, we know the messages that the canvas, you know, brings to us.
Yeah. I guess as well as part of that process, if you're taking them through that, you're actually witnessing their story as well without any judgment.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, to me, it's just helping people, heal. I believe that yes, I was brought here to be a teacher, which I'm doing, but I also believe that it's the healing side of it is a big part of that teaching.
Yeah. I think as well, being a teacher isn't necessarily about imparting information, but to do with the way that you embody life, or like being an example, but just by being yourself, not I am going to be an example, but just by being yourself. And so like you were saying before about your cancer journey, and how you tackled that in itself is a great teaching for somebody else who's going through the same thing.
Definitely.
So I think people,
if I can do it, anyone else can do it too. It's just how your mindset is so important.
So I guess because your next thing is going to be around art therapy.
Yes.
To add to your tool belt. You're going to need a bigger tool belt.
I am.
You can have so much going on. And you mentioned hopefully you're going to be coming over to New Zealand at some point.
Yes, I'm very excited. Yes, once COVID settles a bit, and now it's just flaring up again. But anyway, maybe next year, you know, if it calms down and we get that little window of opportunity, yes.
Yeah, that'd be fabulous. You'll have to come and paint with me.
Definitely.
And then you'll see how really small my studio is. But if you could make it the summer, we could paint outside.
Sounds wonderful. I like that idea.
Yeah. Come and visit the Bay of Plenty. I've been to Sydney a number of times, but I didn't actually know you then, which is such a shame. Could you come and visit?
We will definitely meet in person.
Yes. Yeah. That would be really cool. Yeah, because the windows open very briefly, like for a week, and then they close again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could get stuck on either side, so it's always quite worrying.
Well, that's the big problem. You know, it's there like, I don't know if I don't mind getting stuck there, but you know, it's my dogs wouldn't be happy.
Oh no, that could be a problem.
Yes.
Yes, mine too. So one of the other questions I was going to ask you was, what tips do you have for creativity in general? Just like, how do you set up your own practice? What do you do for your practice? And I guess that's why I'm asking.
Well, mine's already just set up. I like to have a space already set up, because I think if you have to always pull it out, so I think find a nice little corner that you call your own, and have all your favorite things set up ready to go. Because I think that's a big thing. It's the same with writing, same thing. I mean, that's creativity as well. That if you don't have a nice little space already set up, you sort of go, oh, now I have to drag everything out. I have to, and that sort of overwhelms people, and they go, oh, just couldn't be bothered. I'll do it tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow it never comes. So have a nice little space already set up for you. Have a candle, have your special little things. Like I have a big altar, and you know, I swap and change, and then sort of behind me is kind of a little altar, and then I've got a few altars around.
Yeah.
You know, I have my special things set up. I have a candle that I light, and then I can, you know, my space is there, and I can just start.
Yeah, I think that is good advice. I mean, I've been really lucky. You know, I see my studio is really small, but I feel really lucky the fact that I have a room that I can call my own. And when I've made a mess, I can just shut the door and leave it, and I don't have to worry about other people in the house. When I
Exactly.
first started, I had a corner of the lounge, and it was lovely to have a little bit of space, but I always felt I had to keep it tidy. And I don't know about you, but creativity is not tidy in my head.
No, it can get messy, but I mean, I like to clean up once I'm finished, but I'm
Yeah,
hearing like you end up with, you know, a paintbrush over here, a tube of paint there, pens and paper
yeah,
and whatever else all spread out,
yeah,
water. Yeah, but, you know,
yeah. Oh gosh, yesterday I was working on this one behind me, and I took out a red paint, and I thought I'm just gonna fling it at the painting. But what I hadn't realized was the one that I picked up was high flow. So like it was just like ink. And I went like that. And I hit the painting, but I also hit the door.
oh,
Luckily, I don't know how I missed the carpet in the hallway because the hole's just out there. But there was just, it looked like a massacre.
oh no.
It was
Go
all
down
over the
in red.
door. Yeah. So I then had to spend about the next half hour with because I couldn't leave it, wiping it off, and it was already starting to get into the paint. And I
Oh
thought, oh, I don't have to paint the door.
no. Well, remember,
Yeah.
I did that when we were doing the Dream Big, Paint Big.
Oh, that's right.
And it ended up,
You
well,
should
I had
tell that.
glue, but it ended up my waterfall.
That is true. These things happen for a reason, although I didn't mean to paint the door.
No. Well, I ended up with paint on the carpet. Luckily, it was just a matte, but still. Anyway,
Yeah. Mm.
it's a nice reminder of the message in the painting.
Which is now on your mat. And all of my clothes as well, I've noticed. I was
Oh,
hanging, I did some washing earlier, and I was hanging it on the line. It was like, oh my God, I've got paint on there. I've got paint on this top. I've got paint on my jeans.
yeah.
And I do wear an apron, yeah,
Yeah.
which is covered. But I don't know.
Amazing how our art clothes wardrobe is growing. Because it's like, okay, you're now an art shirt or an art pair of pants.
Yeah, I've got more art clothes than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So mum
yeah,
goes, oh, you've got, oh, yeah, it's all right, it's paint. It's okay.
yeah. And you can once it's there, you're sort of stuck with it, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a really good message that you had around creating your own space, but not just even just a physical space, but like you said, lighting a candle, or you might want to put some music on, or it's just like creating a vessel, I guess, for that creativity to happen in.
Exactly. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
just sitting there and connecting with that space that you're in, you know, just connect to it, to what you're about to do. I think that's it.
yeah,
I like to sit and like even when I do my painting meditation workshops, I like to, well, I light the candle. I draw a card for the group, but I also like to then call in any energies that would like to join us and be with us and guide us through.
right.
And it's just,
Ah,
I love it, and it's just beautiful. Some days it's like, whoa, there's heaps of them there, but that's
yeah,
okay. They obviously need to be there for a reason, so I love it.
yeah, yeah. How often do you do that?
I run them once a month.
Right.
Currently, you know, if
Currently.
I change, I might have more. But
Uh-huh.
for the minute,
Yeah. Well, fabulous idea.
mm, mm.
Yeah, yeah. And helping other people. So do they paint along with you, or
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we do a meditation, of course, and then I talk about the topic, and then we all paint, and then we
Yeah.
share what came up. So, and we have some amazing things that come through. It's just awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any questions. I think I've ran out, which is unusual for me.
Oh,
Okay. Oh yeah, we had 10 minutes to go. Yeah, I think the thing is you nail stuff. When I ask you something, you just nail it straight off. There's no having to really think for ages before you come up with your answer. I feel like you always know exactly who you are and what you want to say.
That's the teacher coming out in me, having to think on my feet.
Yeah, because sometimes people will start and they'll start down a pathway of telling me something and then we go somewhere else. But for you, it's like, right, we're going that way.
I'm pretty structured. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, structured in a creative way, which is good. Yeah.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for sharing not only your artistic journey, but also with other people your cancer journey, and how you dealt with that. And I hope that anybody who was on the call or is watching this afterwards is inspired, and know that they don't have to just give in to being told you've now got this label.
I'm going to write a book. I have started writing a book about it, but you know, with everything else that's happening, but I will finish that and I'll put it on, which I didn't mention to you, was my bookstore. I have an online bookstore. So
oh yeah. No, tell me about that before we go.
So yeah, I created, it's called the Author Academy Bookstore.
Yeah.
And I created it for people. Like, the amount of work that goes into writing a book is huge. And I'm not going to lie about that. It is a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. It really is. But a lot of these other big places, and I'm not going to mention any names, but they, you know, you put your book on their website and the author gets nothing from it. They hardly get anything. And it's just treated as another product to them. So, you know, and you've got to do all the work of promoting it and everything. So I went, I need to change this and do something about it. So that's why I created my bookstore. So yes, there's an annual membership fee, but they get promoted. They get 90% of the profits. So yeah, so that's why I created it. So
yeah, I noticed as well you had a like a monthly subscription. You can have books delivered. How does all of that work? I thought that was quite interesting.
So yes, the book box, yes, very exciting. So it's another way to help promote, you know, my authors. They get every month that you subscribe and you get a beautiful box delivered to you with the surprise book and some nice little treats and gifts in there. Some nice pampering stuff, and it's very exciting.
That's cool. Yeah. I love that idea. And then hats off to you as well for actually going up against some of the big guys so that the writers actually get the money from their own books, because I think a lot of people probably won't even realize how little that they do get.
Oh, I mean, they're slowly, like, I'll get people, they say, oh, you know, I've put my book on this website, but I'm not getting anything. I'm like, no, you won't, unfortunately. Unless you promote it yourself and tell people where it is, they're not going to do anything for you. They don't really care. Like, to them, it's just another product.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, well, one book at a going up against them one book at a time.
Exactly. I mean, you know, it's only early days, but when people start to, you know more about it, it'll grow. So it's great.
Certainly will. Oh, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I had forgotten. So thank you for. And it's funny because we started talking about books at the beginning.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But as our conversations go, off in different directions.
Yes.
So anyway, thank you so much for being here today. How do people find you?
So yes, thank you very much for having me. It's been amazing. So yes, you can go to the Author Academy bookstore if you'd like, or you can drop me an email, which is sue@authoracademy.com.au.
Perfect. And I'll also post I tagged you with your Instagram link, but I'll post all of those in the comments after we finish, so that people know where to get in touch. For those people that have got a book in you, you know where to go now. And I know there was a few on this who were actually watching, so you never know.
That's it. I'd love to connect with them.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes,
Lots of
you
love.
too. Lots of love.
Okay, okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.